The Cosby Show didn't just dominate Thursday nights, it literally saved a television network and hid a series of jaw-dropping secrets most fans never uncovered. Today we're breaking down 18 strange facts about one of the most important sitcoms ever made. Casting near misses, a fake Brooklyn address that fooled millions, and production decisions so bizarre they sound like fiction. Stay until the very end, because the bonus reveals a historic rating streak only one other sitcom in the entire history of television has ever matched. So speed up with me, because the list starts now. Number 1. ABC rejected the pilot. 3 times before The Cosby Show became the most watched show in America, 3 different people at one network looked at it and said no. Not once, not twice. 3 times. In 1984, producers Marcy Carsey and Tom Werner, both former ABC programming executives, went to their old network first. ABC president Louis Ehrlich's team passed every time they saw it. The reasons were specific. A wealthy black family with 2 professional parents would feel unrealistic. Stand-up comedians couldn't anchor scripted sitcoms, and the sitcom genre itself was dying. Every one of those assumptions was wrong. The pitch went to NBC, where Brandon Tartikoff had watched Cosby riff about family life on The Tonight Show and believed he could carry a weekly series. Tartikoff picked it up. The show debuted September 20th, 1984, and by season 2, it was the #1 show in America, exactly the hit ABC insisted could never exist. The executives who passed are the cautionary tale. Number 2. The pilot came straight from a stand-up film. The original Cosby Show pilot wasn't fresh storytelling. It was a direct adaptation of material audiences had already laughed at. Bill Cosby's 1983 concert film, Bill Cosby Himself, captured over an hour of stand-up about marriage, parenting, and raising kids. Tartikoff had caught versions of the same material on The Tonight Show and walked away convinced it could be scripted comedy. When Carsey and Werner developed the pilot, that's exactly what they did. Homework battles, picky eaters, and discipline became sitcom beats, with the Huxtable family acting them out instead of Cosby narrating from a microphone. By the time the show aired, audiences who had seen the 1983 film were watching jokes they had technically already laughed at, now played out with a full cast in a Brooklyn brownstone. Starting from proven material gave the show a foundation most pilots never have. If you are enjoying this, take 2 seconds and leave a like. Subscribe if you want more videos like this. That support really motivates my work and helps a lot with bringing more content. Number 3. Cliff had a different name in early episodes. For the first few episodes of Season 1, Bill Cosby's character wasn't named Heathcliff. He was named Clifford. The name appeared on signage outside the home and in actual dialogue before mid-Season 1, when the show quietly swapped it to Heathcliff Huxtable, a nod to Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. The reasoning was never explained. Because the character was almost always called Cliff for short, most viewers never noticed. Vanessa also briefly called her brother Theo Teddy twice in early Season 1, before that nickname was dropped too. The first season was full of small course corrections, character names, and family details adjusted episode by episode as the writers figured out what the show was going to be. Number 4. Whitney Houston auditioned for Sandra. Imagine an alternate universe where Whitney Houston spent 8 years on a family sitcom instead of releasing some of the most successful albums in music history. That universe almost happened. When the show added a 5th Huxtable child after the pilot, the casting team brought in Whitney Houston as a top contender for Sandra, the oldest daughter, a Princeton pre-law student. Houston was in her early 20s, already signed to Arista Records under Clive Davis. She chose not to commit to the full NBC schedule because she had decided music was her main career. Her debut album dropped February 14, 1985, months after the show premiered, and became the best-selling debut by a solo artist in history at the time. If she'd signed that contract, she'd have been locked into the show through 1992. The Sandra role went to Sabrina LeBeouf. 2 iconic careers, 1 decision. Number 5. Sandra wasn't in the original pilot. The character audiences came to know as the responsible oldest Huxtable sibling didn't exist when the show began. The original pilot had only 4 children: Denise, Theo, Vanessa, and Rudy. After the pilot, Cosby decided the family needed a 5th child, specifically one who had already reached adulthood, to show the experience of raising a kid all the way through college graduation. Sandra was created for exactly that. She was first mentioned in episode 6 of season 1, then appeared on screen in episode 10. By season 2, she was a full regular, and Sabrina LaBeouf played her for all 8 seasons through the 1992 finale. A character this embedded in the show's identity didn't even exist on day 1. Number 6. Lisa Bonet was fired twice from the Cosby universe. Of all the behind-the-scenes stories connected to The Cosby Show, few are as revealing as what happened with Lisa Bonet, who played the free-spirited Denise Huxtable. Bonet and Cosby clashed regularly. Reports in 1987 said she was frequently late or absent from filming. Cosby created the spin-off, A Different World, partly to give her a grown-up platform and to ease the conflict. Then she starred in the horror film Angel Heart, which included a graphic sex scene that shocked audiences and Cosby himself. She also posed for interview in Rolling Stone to promote the film, which Cosby felt could harm the show's younger audience. When she became pregnant with Lenny Kravitz's daughter Zoe in early 1988, Cosby fired her from the spin-off. A pregnant college freshman didn't fit their vision. He then brought her back to the main show for season 5, disguising her pregnancy with oversized jackets, while her character was conveniently sent to Zimbabwe. The tensions never resolved. She was fired again at the end of season 7. Bonet has since said she always felt a sinister shadow energy around Cosby on set, even before his public allegations emerged. Her story is the starkest example of the control Cosby exercised over his creative world. Number 7. The show literally saved NBC from collapse. What The Cosby Show did for NBC goes far beyond the definition of a hit. It was a rescue operation. When the show premiered in 1984, NBC had been stuck in third place behind CBS and ABC for years, losing tens of millions annually. Tartikoff was rebuilding prime time from scratch. The show shot to number 3 in its first season and climbed to number 1 by season 2, staying there for 5 consecutive years. It anchored the must-see TV Thursday block that would later add Family Ties, Cheers, and Seinfeld. Within 2 years, NBC overtook both CBS and ABC to become the number 1 network in America. Tartikoff later called it the show that pulled NBC out of last place and into a decade of dominance. A single sitcom ABC rejected 3 times became the foundation of NBC's entire primetime empire. Number 8. The Huxtable house was in the wrong borough the entire time. Every episode opened with an exterior shot of the Huxtable brownstone in Brooklyn. Dialogue across 8 seasons referenced the Brooklyn neighborhood, except the house wasn't in Brooklyn at all. The establishing shot was filmed at 10 St. Luke's Place in Greenwich Village, Manhattan, near 7th Avenue, a completely different borough. Production never found an actual Brooklyn brownstone to replace it, so the Manhattan location stayed for all 8 seasons. For the entire run of the show, viewers believed they were looking at a Brooklyn home located miles away from where it actually stood. Tourists still show up at 10 St. Luke's Place today. That's the right address. It just never had anything to do with Brooklyn. Before we keep going, subscribe if you haven't yet. Drop a comment telling me which movie or show you want me to cover next with strange behind-the-scenes facts. I read every single one. Number 9. Cosby insisted on filming in New York, not LA. In the early 1980s, shooting a major American sitcom anywhere outside Los Angeles was almost unheard of. The studio infrastructure, talent base, and writers' rooms were all in Burbank and Studio City. Bill Cosby refused to follow that model. He insisted the show be taped in New York City, where he lived and wanted to keep his family during production. The show set up at Kaufman Astoria Studios in Queens, with additional work at NBC Studios in Brooklyn. It was logistically harder, more expensive per episode, and required cast and writers to relocate east. Cosby's contract gave him the leverage to hold that line. The show shot in New York for all 8 seasons, making it one of the few major primetime sitcoms of the era to maintain an East Coast production base from start to finish. Number 10. Claire won the role because she spoke Spanish. The Claire Huxtable audiences came to love, composed, commanding corporate lawyer, wasn't the original concept. The show's developers had planned for Claire to be Dominican, with a comedic device modeled on I Love Lucy. She would launch into furious Spanish tirades whenever Cliff frustrated her, the way Ricky Ricardo switched into Cuban Spanish on Lucy. Writers needed an actress who could deliver those outbursts convincingly. Felicia Rashad walked into the audition with fluent Spanish from her own academic background, and that ability was a key part of what locked her into the role. The Dominican angle and the Spanish gag were dropped before season 1 aired, replaced by the polished lawyer version audiences know. But Rashad had already won the part. A character built around one concept became iconic for something entirely different. Number 11, Theo's school struggles were based on a real family secret. Theo Huxtable's recurring storyline about struggling academically felt authentic to millions of viewers. And there was a reason. Cosby's own son, Ennis, had dyslexia. The show used Theo's academic difficulties to explore what living with a learning difference actually looked like, offering a positive portrayal of a young black teenager that was genuinely rare on American TV at the time. Malcolm Jamal Warner, who played Theo and received an Emmy nomination in 1986, has said that people still tell him decades later that Theo's storyline was what led them to discover they had dyslexia. That's public health impact hidden inside a sitcom. Warner also had a notable off-screen rivalry with Carl Anthony Payne II, who played Theo's best friend Cockroach. Payne had also auditioned for Theo's role and didn't get it. Warner said Payne carried a big ego about it, though the two worked through their differences over the years. Number 12. Sandra's actress was only 10 years younger than her TV mom. The mother-daughter dynamic between Claire and Sandra always read as convincingly generational on screen. Behind the scenes, it was built on a much thinner age gap than anyone realized. Sabrina LaBeouf, cast as Sandra, was born in 1958. Felicia Rashad, who played her mom, was born in 1948, just 10 years between them. Producers worried audiences wouldn't buy the relationship if they sensed the two actresses were essentially the same generation. LaBeouf nearly lost the role. She won it because the chemistry read well on tape. The costuming team committed to minimizing the gap visually, and Cosby personally signed off on her casting. Most viewers never noticed, but knowing it now changes how you see every scene they share. Number 13. Cosby had unprecedented creative control over every script bill. Cosby didn't just star in The Cosby Show, he controlled it in ways almost without precedent for a network television performer. His contract with NBC and Carsey Werner included clauses banning depictions of smoking, drug use, and derogatory humor. Any storyline he personally objected to could be killed before production. Every script required his final approval. He also held an ownership stake in the show through his production deal, earning hundreds of millions in syndication revenue over the decades. Few sitcom stars before or since have wielded that level of control. The result was a series that maintained a remarkably consistent tone across all 8 seasons. Same values, same restrictions, same comedic approach from 1984 to 1992. The same mechanism that kept the show consistent was also how Cosby managed everyone on set, including those who would later speak out against him. Quick reminder to subscribe if you are enjoying these revelations. And tell me in the comments, do you know any strange fact about this movie that I didn't mention? Let's build the list together. Number 14, a Harvard psychiatrist reviewed every script. Most TV shows have writers and a showrunner. The Cosby Show had all of that. Plus a Harvard Medical School psychiatrist reading every script before it went into production. Dr. Alvin F. Poussin was known nationally for his research on the effects of racism on Black Americans. Cosby brought him on as production consultant with specific authority over how parenting, education, mental health, and identity were depicted on screen. Poussin's job was to ensure the show presented a positive, healthy, realistic image of Black families to a national audience at a time when that representation carried enormous weight. He worked on every season and also consulted on A Different World. He passed away in February 2025 at age 90. His influence on the show is one of the most important contributions that never appears in the credits. Number 15, the theme song had 7 different versions. Most sitcoms run the same opening sequence for years. The Cosby Show changed its theme song arrangement every single season, 7 different versions across 8 seasons. The theme, a jazz piece called Kiss Me, was composed by musicians Stu Gardner and Cosby himself, who had been musical collaborators for years before the show. Each new arrangement came with fresh choreography performed by the full cast. Cosby danced with the family in every version, updating the moves annually to reflect cast changes and the show's evolving tone. The 7-arrangement run is one of the most unusual title sequence histories in American sitcom production, and those dance segments are iconic enough that clips from each one still circulate online decades later. Number 16. Vanessa's actress saved her partner's fortune tempest. Bledsoe played Vanessa Huxtable, the middle Huxtable child, known for sneaking to concerts and testing her parents' patience. What she was doing off camera was far more impressive. Bledsoe earned a bachelor's degree in finance from NYU's Stern School of Business while maintaining her acting career. That education became genuinely important in her personal life. Her long-term partner, actor Darrell M. Bell, who played Ron Johnson Jr. on A Different World, lost his family's fortune when he was 24. Bledsoe used her financial knowledge to help him stabilize and rebuild. The two have been together since 1993 and have never married, a choice that has now lasted over 3 decades. The finance degree doesn't come up in conversations about the show, but it says a great deal about who Bledsoe actually is outside of the character she played. Number 17, the youngest cast member, was an Emmy nominee at age 6, Kesha Knight. Pulliam began playing Rudy Huxtable when she was just 4 years old. Before joining the show, she had already been acting in commercials since 9 months of age and had a recurring role on Sesame Street. Her talent was recognized almost immediately. She received a Primetime Emmy nomination at age 6, making her the youngest performer nominated at that time. As she grew older, the show introduced Olivia Kendall, played by Raven Simonet, to fill the younger child role. After the show ended, Pulliam stepped away to attend Spelman College in Atlanta, majoring in sociology, before returning to acting and winning an NAACP Image Award for Tyler Perry's House of Pain. She publicly supported Cosby during his legal troubles, attending his 2017 trial and saying she could only speak to her own experience with him, which had always been positive, while accepting the jury's decision as final. Almost at the end, and the best is still coming. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next, and drop your city or country in the comments. I want to see how far this video is reaching. Number 18, the finale aired during the LA riots and drew 44 million viewers. The Cosby Show finale was scheduled for April 30th, 1992. 2 days earlier, the verdicts were announced in the trial of officers who beat Rodney King. Riots erupted across Los Angeles that same evening. By April 30th, the city was in the middle of one of the worst civil disturbances in modern American history. KNBC, the LA NBC affiliate, was on the verge of preempting the finale for riot coverage. Los Angeles Mayor Tom Bradley personally lobbied the station to air it, arguing the show's significance was too important to skip. Cosby recorded a special message played alongside the LA broadcast, asking viewers to stay home and pray for good sense. The finale pulled 44.4 million viewers, one of the most watched series finales ever. The plot itself was deliberately small. Theo graduated from NYU. Cliff finally fixed the broken doorbell that had been a running gag all season. No finale in television history aired under circumstances like those and still drew that many people home. Bonus, the 5-season streak. No sitcom has ever matched. Here's the fact almost nobody mentions when they talk about The Cosby Show, and it may be the most extraordinary achievement in American sitcom history. The show finished as the #1 rated program on American television for 5 consecutive seasons, from 1985-86 through 1989-90. In the entire documented history of Nielsen ratings, only one other show has ever held the top spot for 5 straight seasons. All in the Family, from 1971-72 through 1975-76. Those 2 shows are the only sitcoms to have ever achieved that streak. Nothing in the 3 decades since has come close. The Cosby Show was finally dethroned by Roseanne in its 7th season, finishing second in 1990-91 before completing its 8th season run. But the record stands. For 5 straight years, more Americans chose The Cosby Show over everything else on television, every single week. ABC rejected it. A city was burning the night of its finale. A Harvard psychiatrist vetted every script. The exterior was in the wrong borough for 8 years. and it still became the most dominant sitcom of its generation. That's The Cosby Show. And those were 18 strange facts about The Cosby Show, a series that started as a rejected pilot and ended as a cultural institution, one that reshaped American television and left behind a legacy that contains both the highest highs and the most painful contradictions. If you made it this far, leave a like, subscribe, and comment which fact surprised you the most. And don't forget to suggest another movie or show that deserves a list of strange facts. See you in the next video.